Most people wake up in the morning and immediately start thinking about their problems. These issues are tied to specific memories, which are in turn connected to certain people and things. Your brain operates like an old tape recorder, replaying the same cassette every day. If your brain is essentially a recording of the past, then when you start your day, you are already thinking and living in the past. Each memory is linked to emotions, and these emotions are the end result of past experiences. When you recall memories of your problems, you instantly feel unhappy, sad, and in pain. The way you think and feel shapes your state of being, essentially forming your character. If your entire state of being is rooted in the past when you start your day, your past will inevitably become your future. For instance, if something made you angry yesterday and you wake up thinking about it, you will feel angry again. If this continues for 2 days, people might think you had a bad day. If it lasts for a week, they might think you are in a bad mood. Over time, if you persist in this behavior, anger becomes part of your character, and you will be known as someone who is always angry. Your thoughts are intertwined with your destiny. If you keep thinking about the past, you will keep recreating the same life, often without realizing it, leading to a life you don't even like. Typically, you wake up, grab your phone, read a few emails or texts, check the news, and feel connected to everything familiar in your life. You then follow a series of routine behaviors: getting out of bed on the same side, going to the bathroom, getting a cup of coffee in your favorite mug, showering, getting dressed, and taking the same route to work. At work, you see the same people who trigger the same emotional responses. After work, you rush home to repeat the same routine the next day. This routine works like a computer program, and eventually you lose your free will to the program, no longer in control. By the time we are 35, 95% of our personality is made up of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions, all functioning like a program. You might use your 5% conscious mind to say, "I want to be healthy, happy, and free," but your body is controlled by a different program. This pits your 5% conscious mind against the 95% subconscious, similar to having an average person compete against an Olympic powerlifter in a weightlifting contest. It's no wonder changes are hard to make, and you end up reverting to the old program, recreating the same life. To start making changes, you need to go beyond the analytical mind, which separates the conscious mind from the subconscious. This is where meditation comes in. Through meditation, you can learn to change and slow down your brain waves, entering the operating system where fundamental changes can be made. Most people wait for a crisis, trauma, illness, or diagnosis to start making changes, but why wait for something negative to happen? You can learn and change in a state of pain and suffering, or in a state of joy and inspiration. Most people spend 70% of their lives in survival mode, living in stress and constantly expecting the worst-case scenario based on past experiences. This leads them to choose negative outcomes from the infinite potential of the quantum field, like picking the worst option from an infinite menu. Every time you recall a negative event, you produce the same chemistry in your brain and body as if the event were happening again, sending the same emotional signals to your body. In a sense, your body is your subconscious, and it doesn't know the difference, thinking the event is actually happening now. Most people continually recreate their negative emotional states by constantly thinking about them. When it comes time to let go of this negative emotion, they might say, "I really want to change," but the body is stronger than the mind, conditioned to negative emotions for years. The body used to be a servant, but now it is the master. When you decide to change and step into the unknown, the body resists, preferring guilt and suffering because they are familiar and predictable. The unknown is a scary place for the body, like stepping into a deep river. The body knows it will die if you reach the other side and will do everything to stop you. That's why when you start meditating, suddenly your nose itches, you remember an important task, or a memory from 20 years ago pops up. That's your body saying, "Come on, give up, and let's go back to our old miserable life." The body has many tools to stop you from entering the unknown. The unknown is the best place to create your future, and the easiest way to enter the unknown is through meditation. Once in a deep meditative state, you can begin to create your future. What kind of new life do you want? What behaviors do you want to exhibit? What kind of person do you want to be. The best way to create your future is to close your eyes and mentally rehearse the things or behaviors you want for your life. If you are truly present, the brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and real experience. Through imagination, you install the software programs for your future life. Your brain is no longer just a record of the past. It becomes a map for the future. If you continue like this, you might start behaving like a happy person. The hardest part is teaching your body on an emotional level what the future will feel like before you actually experience it. It's not enough to just imagine it. You have to feel it emotionally in your body. If thoughts are the language of the brain, then feelings are the language of the body. Through feelings and emotions, your body understands what your mind is telling it. If you don't feel anything, it means your body isn't receiving the signal, like having an internet modem in your room that works, but you can't connect because you've turned off the Wi-Fi on your phone. The moment you start feeling the emotions of your thoughts, you are connected to the internet and can start downloading your future life. What does this mean? It means you no longer have to wait for success to feel successful. You don't need to wait for wealth to feel abundant or for a new relationship to feel love. According to the quantum model of reality, the moment you feel rich and valuable, you create wealth. The moment you start feeling it, you begin moving towards your future. This means you become the creator of your future, no longer living as a victim saying, I am this way because of that person or that experience. Unfortunately, many people today are victims of their own negative thoughts from the past. Most people are unaware of this. But here's the thing about thoughts. Just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean it's true. I repeat, just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean you should act on it. On average, you think 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day, 90% of which are the same as the day before. If your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, then your life won't change much because the same thoughts lead to the same choices. The same choices lead to the same behavior. The same behavior creates the same experience, and the same experience produces the same emotion. That's why it's so important to meditate, so you can become more aware of how you think, act, and feel. The more aware you are, the less likely an unwanted thought will slip past your consciousness unchecked. The word meditation means to become familiar with something. So when you become familiar with the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions of the old self, you are no longer influenced by them. Instead, you start thinking new thoughts and putting the body into a new emotional state. If you do this long enough, this new emotional state will become familiar to you. Creating a new self is like starting a new garden. First, you have to get rid of the weeds and stones, then pull out last year's plants and prepare the soil. Only then can you start planting. Meditating works much the same way. You prepare the garden, and that is no easy task. Training your body to sit down and meditate is like training a wild animal or a dog. You say, sit down and wait here, but it runs away, so you catch it and bring it back. And of course, it runs away again, and you catch it and bring it back. The moment you start meditating, the body says, hey, it's 80 wow. You usually read emails and get annoyed at this time, but here you are sitting and doing nothing. You're not on schedule. What's going on? For years, we've been getting annoyed together at this time, but suddenly you just change. The body then starts sending signals. The body is basically looking for that predictable chemical state, and it doesn't care that it's a toxic state. Every time you become aware of what your body is doing and focus your attention on the present moment, you are telling your body that it is no longer the mind and that you are the mind. Now your will becomes greater than the program, and if you do this over and over again, like a trained dog, the body will sit down and obey. As soon as the body surrenders, energy is released. You go from particle to wave, from matter to energy, and free yourself from the chains of emotions that keep you anchored in the familiar past. If you do this for just 1 week, you will already notice differences in your life. You will start catching yourself more often and avoid reverting to your old unhappy self. Naturally,